There's so much information out there about narcissists and toxic relationships. And I think that is amazing information. And I learned a lot, reading about that. But I noticed there's not a lot of information like out there once you leave a relationship and the different phases that you go through. And they're pretty common. Once you leave a toxic relationship, the phases that you go through are pretty common. And I just wanted to cover some of those phases. The first one, right when you're leaving, you're gonna have a ton of anxiety. It'll be anxiety like you've never ever felt before. And this is because you are addicted to that situation and you're gonna have to leave. It's maybe like you're going into AA, and the weeks before you go into AA, you're gonna have anxiety because your life's about to change. And AA, I mean Alcoholics Anonymous, because toxic relationships are addicting. They're just as addicting as alcohol or drugs or anything, and your body is going to withdraw from being in that relationship. So right before you leave, you're gonna have a ton of anxiety, but really that anxiety is good because it kind of numbs you in a way, and it gets your body prepared to leave. So after you leave, you're gonna have a euphoric phase that you finally left, especially if it's been a long marriage and a long time coming. You're just gonna feel so incredibly happy. You're gonna be so euphoric. You're gonna be like, I'm finally done and I can live my own life. And that phase for me lasted, a good 6-8 months, almost up to a year, because I was just so excited to be, on my own, making my own decisions financially. And in the evening, I could just relax. I didn't have anyone, bother, picking on me or making me doubt myself. So it was just like a euphoric feeling. I also started dating, and the guys that I dated treated me really well. So I just got a lot of validation, and that feels great, and it's a great phase because it helps you get through, going through divorce or signing the papers if you're doing that. But it's not really reality, because after the euphoria phase, you're going to, realize like, hey, I'm alone now. I was married for so long, and then real life kicks in. And, this is where maybe a lot of women may go back to their exes, maybe go back to, their old boyfriends, or they may start dating someone exactly like their ex because they're just kind of at a loss of where to go from there. They've, gotten away, and then there's just kind of a void, because as women in toxic relationships, we're so used to the drama and having that conflict that it is kind of a void once we're out of that. And also our bodies, after the euphoria leaves, our bodies are we still have that toxic pattern kind of running in us, and it needs something to latch onto. So you may think the answer is, I'm gonna date, another guy like my ex, and to get those toxic feelings. And also it can be transmitted, through sexually, just being very physically attracted to someone can end up being toxic if they're not treating you right. But at the same time, it kind of feeds your need for that toxic energy. So that may be something you're going to get emotions that feel like you like that person, but really it's almost just like getting a hit of dopamine to relax you and relax your toxic attachment. So this is the most important phase of leaving, which is just sitting out, staying cold turkey, away from toxic people, away from toxic situations. And this is where yoga, meditation, reading books, spirituality is very, very important, because this is going to give you a base for your soul, for your body, for your heart. It's going to make you more aware of your body, and more aware when you're triggered into those toxic patterns, because you really want to be aware when someone is triggering that toxic pattern. It may feel like attraction, but it's actually just your toxic pattern being triggered. And that's where you feel like, well, maybe this is right. Maybe this is the person for me, but it's actually just triggering an old pattern that is lying dormant. And you need time to get those patterns out of you, get that energy out of you, before you can engage, in a relationship that's not going to still have some of that energy. So the next phase is just really looking deep within, and that's the phase I'm in now. And it's probably the hardest phase. Leaving, you feel like you're doing something because you're leaving, and you have all this stuff going on, especially if you're moving and you're filing divorce papers, and there's a lot of people supporting you. And then the euphoria when you first start dating and you're excited, and you're meeting men that treat you better, and all your friends are kind of interested in hearing about your dates. But then, just like anything, people go back to their lives, and you're not going to have all those people surrounding you, asking about every date, because it's just your life now. It's not anything new. The first couple dates are exciting because you haven't dated in a long time, but then after that, it just becomes your life. And that's where you really need to like go within and establish your own life, your own feelings, your own base of what you want next. And I do believe that this phase I'm entering now, and I've started to go into, is the most important phase, because this is going to give me my baseline to move forward into a life that I really want. I could easily go out and be in a relationship right now, and satisfy that feeling. But I just feel like if I do that, I'm going to end up following that person's, whoever I'm with, I'm going to be listening to their suggestions, their guide. It won't really be an authentic life that I want, because I don't even fully know what I want yet. So how could I, tell somebody what I want and go for that if I'm still figuring that out myself? So for me, this is a hard time because there is kind of a void, and there is kind of, when I get kind of anxious, I just go within and I just try and be patient, and there's a lot of patience with myself. So that is where I am now. And, if you're in the phase where you're still in a relationship and you're looking to possibly, leave or move on, I was there, just a couple years ago. So, I'm not fully on the other side yet, but I think I may be a few steps ahead of maybe where you are. And so I can help you to navigate those really, scary times of leaving a relationship and moving forward. So I'm going to share my journey of what I find out. I already share it in my weekly blog. That's at womanwhy.com. You can join my email list on my website, and I will email you. I write a weekly blog. If you comment or, like the post, I would really appreciate it. And also, I read all the comments. If you want to DM me and talk privately, that is fine too. But I'm just here to support you and to move you forward, because I believe, we only live once, and I want women to live the life that they're meant to live and live up to their full potential.